Maria Elena, and she would always take me to the market with her. But when we did, she would always dress me up in this ridiculous pink outfit. I guess I liked it at the time. And she would always wear her hair curly and black, and she had these big pearl earrings she would put in with this very vivid blouse. It was usually orange, I think. But we would always go to the market. We would take the bus to the market, and the bus would stop right in front of my house. And we would take the bus all the way to Acámbaro, and in Acámbaro there was a market, and this market was like an outside market, so there were posts everywhere, and we would go and just look. They sold clothes, food, candy there. I remember especially candy, because every time I went with her, she would buy me this long strip of lollipops. They're like sweet milk, kind of chocolate caramel lollipops. And she'd always buy me this long strip, and I would hold it up against me, and it'd be taller than me. And she would always buy some fruit and food, and we would go back to Las Compuertas, as our property was called. Then we would get to Las Compuertas, and there were neighboring kids that lived near that area, and they would always come over to my house. And there was probably about like 5 kids, I'd say, and they were all around my age. And she would make me share with them. She'd look at me with her big brown eyes and say, "Jennifer, you need to share." And I remember saying to her, "I don't want to share." But she would make me share. And then I had my other grandma. Her name was Mama Mari. And a lot of the time that I spent with her, we were at her house. She had a chicken coop, and she'd always go out with me, and I remember that the floor, it was dirt. It was just plain dirt outside, and chickens were everywhere, and there was this wired fence. And we would go out to the chicken coop, and she would tell me to get the eggs. I remember I had this little short hair and this little white dress, and she would always wear her hair half down, half up, and you could see the wrinkles by her eyes, but she had smaller, beadier eyes than my other grandmother, but they were still very, very powerful. She'd wear a lot of green, and she'd always make me go get the chicken eggs. And we'd go back to her kitchen and make breakfast. And she had fruit trees. I think she had oranges and she had guavas. And she would pick them and then go by the river, because she lived right on the river. And we'd go and we'd sit there and eat them and look out. And usually by this time the river it would rise, because it was the season and we wouldn't be able to go to the river. That's what we would do. That's what my Mama Mari and I would do. We would do that every single day. Miguel, I call him Tío Miguel, and he lived with me. He lived on my parents' property with us. There was a snake, and I was freaking out. And there was a snake, so it was kind of by a wood area, and he grabbed it and he chopped it in half. And I just remember that there were 2 little parts that kept squirming around as if it didn't want to die. But eventually it did.